Hello, everybody. My name is Darren.
Hi, I'm Graham.
And I have seen a film called Passengers. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think you can waffle about that for 10 minutes?
Oh, God, yeah, I could do longer than that. But
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it's about. So, rapey old Chris Pratt is...
Whoa.
What?
Is that a spoiler?
Well, there's no rape
Darren!
in the
Oh
film.
my god, like, can we just keep this, like...
There's no rape
Wait,
in the
what?
film.
He's not actually rapey. Oh, he just acts very
He's
rapey.
got a rapey vibe about him.
Okay, right, okay, it's not a spoiler. It's kind of a spoiler to say that nobody gets raped.
Nobody gets raped.
That's a spoiler.
Soz. Nobody gets raped in lots of films, though. Nobody got raped in Toy Story. Spoilers.
Well, that is a spoiler. Anyway.
Sorry. Although I think somebody may have got raped in Straw Dogs, if I remember rightly. If I remember from our friend who got an erection during that scene.
Yeah. Very awkward erection.
Anyway, so Passenger starts off with some people in like hypersleep, and they're going to Earth 2 or whatever it's called, because Earth 1 is like, you know, bad now.
It's interstellar.
Yeah. And at the beginning of the movie, this ship where every single person is asleep on its 100-and-something year journey crashes into an asteroid. You'd think they'd have factored that into the ship's design. That might happen in an unmanned ship on a 150-year mission. It might hit a rock. Anyway,
Well, surely they've put, like, installed, like, defences, kind of like
there's a shield, but
and shit.
no, there's not that. Basically, it hits a rock, everything goes titties up. Chris Pratt wakes up and shouldn't, and he's now got like 90 years until his destination, so can't just wait it out.
How old is he at this point?
Chris Pratt's age. And
so they've not been flying for long?
No, they're in like hypersleep, so they're preserved.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, but
I think they've been flying like 30 years.
Huh.
But he hasn't aged 30 years.
No.
Otherwise, when they opened the dust boxes after 150 years, there'd just be bones and...
Yeah. Dust, more dust.
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
So he wakes up, and he's got nothing to do. He can't do anything. He doesn't know, where he is. Well, he knows where he is, but...
Does he have to wee for ages like Austin Powers?
No. Well, maybe, but they don't show it.
Oh.
I guess that scene was already done, so they felt to skip it.
Yeah.
There's one person he can talk to who is, what's-his-face? Tony Blair.
Yeah.
Michael
Frost.
Sheen.
Yeah.
One of the Sheens that's not one of the mad ones. Or related to them. Who is a robot, and therefore only gives kind of robotic-type answers,
That's stupid, isn't it? Because, like...
Well, he can give, like, a conversation, but he's a bit stupid.
What's the... Like, does the onboard computer... Like, can they speak to the...
There's, like, a computer where you can, like, type stuff in and go, I need help. There is no help. Where is the captain? He is in the captain's bay. How do I get there? You can't. That kind of thing.
You can't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so then what's his name? Chris Pratt is wandering around looking at all the other sleepy people, and he falls in love with Jennifer Lawrence because her sleeping body has such a lovely personality, or rather, he wants to sleep with her.
Oh, that's not fair.
What?
Well, what about literally Sleeping Beauty?
Well, that's also a bit rapey.
Well, no, because she's a princess and she looks so elegant and innocent and
right. So, what's your point?
That can elicit more of an emotional response than a sexual drive.
Yeah, it elicits a sexual drive in his case.
Oh.
And he starts reading up on her files in a sort of stalkery way, watching videos of her that she'd recorded beforehand. And he then has the moral dilemma that lasts about 12 seconds in his own head of, do I spend my entire life alone on my spaceship?
Well, you just giving me the spoiler.
This is like 10 minutes in.
Okay.
Or do I wake her up and condemn her to my own misery, but at least then I have some company? Anyway, he makes his mind up. He wants to sleep with Jennifer Lawrence.
Jesus Christ.
Wakes her up. Film doesn't really judge him. And then he starts a romance, having researched her thoroughly and knowing exactly what she likes.
Well, that's just like Groundhog Day, though, isn't it?
It is, but Groundhog Day teaches Bill Murray a lesson for doing that. Rather than, Bill Murray doesn't start off a dick and have Andy McDowell fall in love with him. She only likes him when he starts being a nice person.
Yeah.
And also, that's not the entire film of Groundhog Day. So then it becomes this sort of schmaltzy, really sappy romance, where it's cliched lines and they're going for stuff, but where one of them's a bit rapey because of what he's done.
Everything's a bit too convenient.
Yeah, and I can't...
Does she never get onto it?
Well, you just told me you don't want to give you spoilers.
No, sorry, I don't mean that. I just mean, does she never kind of have an inkling? I guess she might do. I mean, they've got to have a conflict, haven't they? I mean, other than the
the conflict is that the ship is breaking.
Yeah.
So they want to have their romance, but also they need to fix the ship. Lawrence Fishburne turns up at one point, which took me by surprise.
Fishburne,
yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh God!
You're thinking of Lawrence Fishburne's porn star daughter?
No.
Oh, what are you thinking of?
Just Nothing. It doesn't matter.
Well, Lawrence Fishburne, it's a very big surprise for everyone involved because there's been nobody about for an hour, and then Lawrence Fishburne's just like, "Hello." Like, where the fuck did you come from?
Yeah.
And it
Is he on
turns
the
out,
ship?
yeah, he'd been woken up as well for the reasons that he needs to explain the plot to them. So he literally, it's like a 5-minute cameo where he explains what's going on and then explains what's needs to be done. Then he disappears
Goes
again.
back to sleep.
Yeah, he's literally both Basil Exposition and Deus Ex Machina in one 5-minute scene.
That's pretty impressive.
It's, isn't it?
To be fair.
I've just seen that the story is going nowhere. Why don't you try this? Because this is going on.
Yeah.
Bye! Anyway, so I can't go into really why I hated this film quite so much without then going into spoiler territory. Suffice to say we're into the not actually rape, but the rapey vibe of the film. And the just horrible misogyny that it has towards any female character. Well, I say any. Jennifer Lawrence.
Should we just explain?
What?
Because I don't... Should we just make this spoilery video?
Well, I can, but you haven't seen it.
Just do it, it's fine.
Okay, so she finds out that he woke her up the way that she did, and ultimately
obviously
forgives him because all a girl needs is a good man to save her.
Yeah, oh. That's really nice.
And there's a bit at the end. Do you want me to really do spoilers?
Well, okay, so I read a spoiler, or what I thought was a spoiler anyway. It was on this forum talking about film and stuff like that. Spoilers. Maybe. They die?
No.
Okay, right, So, okay, that's annoying.
Why?
Because I thought that was a spoiler. It was like,
No.
I chastised this guy for spoiling.
Did you really?
Yeah, later. So I was like,
All right.
who do you think you are? You know.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, no, basically, if you want me to tell you, so the ship's dying because of reasons, but even though it's a giant ship in space, it only needs one small thing to fix this thing that's crumbling, and it requires Chris Pratt to essentially sacrifice himself so Jennifer Lawrence can re-fall in love with him, even though that he's condemned. At one point, she even says, "You've murdered me, you've stolen my life," which is absolutely true. But
And she wouldn't have even realised if she was just left asleep.
no.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the catch-22 of it is if they hadn't woken up, they'd have all died. But that's not really justification morally for what you did.
Could he have done everything that he did alone?
No, but at the same time, that doesn't. He didn't wake her up to help him save everybody's life. He woke her up so he could sleep
Get
with
his
her,
end away.
and by sheer coincidence, he was then able to save everyone's life. So anyway,
Well, that's still quite good. That's
No,
a
it's
net
not.
gain of good, isn't it? Because
there's good. You can think of it as the good outweighs the bad, or you can think of it as the bad person also did a good thing, but he definitely did the bad thing first.
Yeah.
It's kind of lucky he did the bad thing, but he's still a bad person for doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he essentially sacrifices himself, and it's one of those where it's like, stay dead, I don't give a shit, I hate you, you're a fucking dickhead. And he's very much dead, like there's no way he's not dead. And then I thought, oh, that's quite interesting, because now Jennifer Lawrence is in the same situation he was in. Now what does she do? Does she spend an eternity, well, the rest of her life alone, or does she then start waking, thinking about, and it would be good if it had like an ambiguous ending where it like has her walking into the room with all the sleepy people. Anyway, despite him clearly being dead, she goes out into the space world, flies in an astronaut suit, pulls him back in, puts him on, drags him somehow to the medical bay. Medical thing is like, medic pod is like, he's dead. She's like, no. He's like, no, it's dead. Then she like hits like every button at once. Then he comes back to life. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he's definitely dead. And you've just brought him back. Why? What was the point in that? And then they go on to have their happy life in the ship. And like, that's it. That's the end. They live happily alone together because of that. And then, so they manage to plant like a tree or something. And then it cuts to like, after their death and all the other crew now wake up, having reached the destination. This is the very end. And,
I love that there's a tree to commemorate their service.
Well, no,
to the
because
rest of the crewmen.
When it then cuts, the entire deck is just like a forest. I have no fucking clue where the birds came from. Like, there's just birds flying around. I guess whoever wrote the film thought birds live in trees. If we grow a tree, a bird, like a cherry,
You can't look at a
pluck the
bird.
birds from the trees.
You can't look at a tree and not expect a bird.
Well, that's
It's
it.
going to be too weird for
Anyway,
them.
so the door opens and the captain.
Is there like other vines and things like
it's
that?
proper overgrown. Like the
From
girl
one,
the gifts.
did they
in
just
Stoke.
plant one tree?
Well, I'm sure they figured out how to do the rest. Anyway, so the door opens, the captain walks out, who we've not seen anything of, and is bewildered by, because obviously all he knows, he went to sleep 5 minutes ago, which was technically 150 years, now his ship is a jungle. And,
with actual predators
and there's
danger.
a tiger in the corner eyeing him up. And there's like a sappy voiceover from Jennifer Lawrence, like, we lived our life, we're so happy with it. And you think, like, are you fucking, like, this is just Stockholm Syndrome? You've just romanticized Stockholm Syndrome?
Yeah.
Anyway, the captain
So
is...
they became like old and stuff, like, together.
Yeah. No, it's fucking creepy.
Did they leave like video messages for the crew and stuff like that?
No, but she'd written "Help me" in the vines. Anyway, so the captain sees this. The captain has never been seen before. He's in the trailer for about 3 seconds, and I swear to God, that's only 3 seconds this character's in the movie. He's played by Andy Garcia.
Oh, wow.
Best character in the film. Like, the greatest played character, the character I had the least problems with, and the sort of moral consistency all the way through was absolutely fine with that captain. He walked out, looked bewildered, cut to credits. Andy Garcia, you've just stolen the movie.
Andy Garcia?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anyway, and I went in. I know this film was getting some good reviews and mostly bad reviews, but it's by a director whose name I think is Tyler Morden, who I'm a huge fan of because his 2 other films. One was The Imitation Game, which was great, and the other one is Headhunters, which is a film I really love. So I went into this film really optimistic and full of oh, it's going to be good, and I left like I fucking hated that.
Maybe you had too much of an expectation.
What, that it would treat genders equally and not with the sort of callous hatred that it did, and like I say, essentially glorifies Stockholm Syndrome and the sort of stalkery, pervy nature of men.
Are those themes not present in any other film that he's done?
Who? Tyler Morden?
Yeah.
Certainly not to the extent that I noticed that
Maybe
I
that's
did
something
here.
he's branching out into.
Well, I guess so. Well, he can branch back into it. Like, I'm not happy with it, which I'm sure will be a big problem for him when he finds out.
Yeah, you just let him know.
Anyway, bye everyone.
Bye.